Welcome to another episode of the Nick and Jimmy Show. On today's episode, we have a young gun superstar. He's 21 years old. He's taking entrepreneurship to the next level. His sales techniques are incredible. Everyone should learn from this superstar, the one and only Ambro
Di Pilato.
There you go. Welcome on the show.
Thank you for being here, man. We appreciate
Thanks
you.
for having
Thank
me,
you.
gentlemen.
So, Ambro, who are you and what exactly do you do?
Yeah, so my name is Ambro Di Pilato, 21-year-old from Montreal. Basically, how I got into sales for entrepreneurs and influencers was I started off at an agency. Didn't really like what they had going on there. A lot of high-pressure sales techniques. So, honestly, kept going with the agency, kept not liking it, and essentially didn't like what was going on. I actually took one of the guys from the agency and said, let's start our own agency. He kind of helped me, didn't see the vision, dropped off at the very beginning. I continued with it, and basically here we are now, 41 reps, and it's doing very well.
You have 41 representatives under your wing.
Exactly.
And what exactly is a sales agency? What do you do exactly?
So what we do is we sell courses and programs and mentorships for entrepreneurs and influencers. So someone like Tony Robbins, for example, if he's gonna put a low ticket offer to get people for his higher mentorships, like $10, $20, $100,000. We would sell that over the phone, over a couple phone calls, depending on how high ticket the offer is. And that's pretty much how we facilitate it. So everything is done through the phone. We walk them through the process of how they would experience the program. We collect payment, and then we put them into the program.
Awesome. Here's one of the magic questions, because we have multiple magic questions.
Yeah.
How did you earn 5 million? How did you make $5 million in sales at the age of 21 years old? 5 million.
Yeah.
That's great. When did you start? At 16, 15, 19?
I started this 9 months ago.
9 months. So in 9 months, $5 million in sales.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We've actually risen a little bit since then, but it's been climbing like crazy.
Okay, and how?
Because basically how it works is once you break into the market, if you do good work, they're going to refer you. So it's been like a snowball effect. So we'll do great work, get $100,000 in revenue for a client in the first month. That could climb anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million per month, and then we're getting everything off commissions. So if in the first month we clear $100,000 USD for this client, they're going to be referring us all their friends, everyone that they're around, and usually we're targeting people who are already highly influential. So that's how it keeps growing.
But I'm a little confused. What do you mean clear $100,000? How can you clear $100,000?
Yeah. So basically how the whole system works is they'll be giving us access to their funnel, their Calendly, everything that their booking system goes off of to sign up for the program. They'll get leads into that funnel. Then they go to book a call on the Calendly to set up the consultation. It's quoted as a consultation, whether it's credit, whether it's e-commerce, real estate, doesn't matter. Like I train my reps to sell everything. Mm-hmm. So where it goes from there, they basically book a call with myself or one of my representatives, and then we get on the phone with them and then close them for anywhere from $5,000 all the way up to $100K. And then we're getting around roughly 5 to 30% commissions off that.
Okay.
And you have the leads are provided to you by
the entrepreneur.
By the entrepreneur. So you're not your sales agents are only calling qualified leads, basically, right?
Exactly.
Very good.
We do cold outreach. It's very rare because it's not as lucrative and it takes up a lot of time. But if the outreach is somewhat warm but they're not booked calls, we'll still do them. It just depends on the offer and how high ticket it is.
Gotcha.
Got it.
And how do you set up events with over 100 artists involved in bringing together over 500 attendees?
Yeah. So before I got into the sales agency, I was actually an artist myself. Was kind of dabbling around in everything. So I actually had a landscaping company. Then I tried to start an app, all while like being an artist, because that's where everyone kind of directed me. Because at like 16 years old, I knew I wanted to be in entrepreneurship. Like school wasn't for me. Everyone said I was terrible at school. Growing up, I struggled a lot. And then once I got into college, I realized that hard work is what it takes to actually achieve good grades. And I said, if I'm putting in all this work to achieve the same grades as others, if I put the same amount of work into entrepreneurship, I'd be making a lot more money, and there's no limits as to the money I could make. So at 18 years old, dropped out of building systems engineering. I said no more school for me. And then I basically just got into entrepreneurship. Started off with art, tried to sell my art through Instagram, built a brand. And then from there, you know, with the audience that I had created, I was able to host these art galleries. And it started off, you know, 5 artists, 20 to 40 attendees, and then it just kept climbing over the years. But it's all in advertising and building a brand. I think that's the most important part.
And why art? Do you have a passion around it, or just good at selling it?
I'm good at selling it. I think it stems in sales because I am an artist, but I don't like to consider myself as such. Like, sales is really where I thrive because I was able to sell people's, you know, art, something that has no value to it, and I was able to sell that for thousands of dollars and create commissions that way. So I thought, what if I could apply this to something educational and valuable that'll actually change people's lives? And that's kind of how I got into high ticket sales after that.
It's funny, this is an arts building over here.
Yeah, I know. I realized. Yeah, it's honestly, I like art. It's just dealing with the artists is incredibly difficult. You know, they're very open-minded, or I don't know what the exact terminology is, but you know, they're very different individuals from myself. So I tried to dissociate myself from that space a little bit, just because it's very difficult to deal with them.
Awesome.
Cool. And who's your role model? You have a role model? You have a mentor?
I would say I have a couple. I mean, I try to take little bits and pieces from everyone around me and, you know, in the entrepreneur space, and, you know, use what's applicable to myself, and obviously not replicate exactly what people do. So for someone like mindset, I'd probably look at like David Goggins or Andy Frisella. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them. Yeah. So, you know, their mindset is rock solid.
I attempted the 75 hard once.
Yeah.
And man, it's not easy.
Oh, it's devastating. I actually completed. I failed it twice.
You completed?
Yeah, and then I finally completed it.
You know what the 75 hard is?
No.
Work out twice a day. One inside, one indoor, one outdoor.
Oh, that's what you were telling me.
Even when it's raining, you're snowing, you still got to do it. 45 minutes. 45 minutes in, 45 minutes out. 1 gallon of water a day. No cheat meals for 75 days. No alcohol for 75 days. What else? I think that's it.
1 progress picture in the
and 1 progress picture every single day.
Yeah.
It's insane. Wow.
Yeah.
But it's testing your mind.
Of course, mindset.
Yeah, it's all mindset. But I was listening to the David Goggins audiobook on, I believe it's Can't Hurt Me, and I would run every morning with that on, and I just absolutely devastated my legs. Like by day 20, I couldn't walk, so I had to figure out different ways of doing cardio. So I would do like push-ups in a lot of repetition. I would do like the bike, different things to get myself off my legs. But that's where I think like my success stems from, is that I'm just always going to be the hardest worker in the room. Before I got into entrepreneurship, I was in martial arts, did that my whole life.
That's very good for discipline.
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. True. You know, if you were getting punched in the face on a daily basis from a kid, you know, you're gonna have some sort of mindset that you're gonna be able to endure a lot of hardship in entrepreneurship.
Of course.
And I feel that's where a lot of people fail, because you know they end up quitting, and all it takes is just a little bit of consistency and just doing the work day in and day out. You know, it's not about how much you do, it's about doing it every day. And I think that's where a lot of people fail.
You have a great mindset, man. Wow, 21 years old.
Appreciate it.
What's your favorite sales book?
Never Split the Difference. Never Split the Difference.
Okay, from?
Vince Voss, I think.
Okay.
I believe.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's he was a FBI negotiator. For basically like kidnappings and things of that nature, and basically like what he says in that book is just phenomenal. Like it's absolutely some of the best like sales techniques, and just not manipulation but persuasion.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's very good. I would definitely recommend it. I really enjoyed it. Another one would be Sell or Be Sold.
Yes.
That's.
I'm actually listening to that right now.
I read that twice.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
That one's a good book. It's
direct, straight to the point.
Yeah, it's very direct, but not a lot of principles that are applicable to sales. Like it is direct in the sense that he tells you like, oh, you got to do this, you got to do that, but I wouldn't say it's applicable in this day and age. Like if you're doing cold outreach, yes, but if you have warm leads, you know, you're gonna turn off a lot of people to your product.
Yeah, in your face, yeah.
Exactly.
It's in your face style.
Yeah. And the only thing I would take from that book is the follow-up. You have to follow up with your clients.
Actually,
no matter
I
what
was
business
listening
you're in.
yesterday. He brought up a really good point. He says one of the best sales techniques is no matter what your prospect says, always agree with them.
Yeah.
So I actually stuck to me yesterday. Like always agree, and then explain your point.
Exactly.
So because it takes them away from the defense mode. So I think that's one of the things that I got from the book so far, which is
one of the best things in never split the difference is obviously you want to agree with your prospect, but telling them no so that they like not necessarily no, but having them have the option of saying no throughout the conversation. Because now they feel like they have power over the conversation. Exactly. A lot of salespeople, what they'll do is they'll always get their prospect to say yes. One of the examples that he uses is when he was at a call center where basically the cold callers were calling everyone up and asking them, you know, do you like to drink water? Well, obviously the guy was like, yeah. But saying something in that nature and kind of manipulating your prospect puts him on the defensive. Exactly. So he's going to say yes, yes, yes up until taking action, and then he's not going to close at the end. You want to form a relationship with the prospect. Like, and a lot of times, like after I'm done on the phone with one of my prospects, like we'll connect on Instagram. I end up doing business with them later on down the line because I formed that relationship and I'm not hard selling them. I'm solving a problem. I'm getting to the pain points and I'm understanding, okay, what problem do you want to solve? You know, with heavy hitters, it's a little bit difficult because, you know, they're already making so much money. They've already achieved so much in life. So to get to their pain points and realize, okay, so you've achieved everything that you want to, but now what's the next level? What's the next level for you? And that's where we have to place the product to get them to the next level.
Going back to 75 hard, it's also 10 pages a day. I forgot about that.
Oh yeah.
On top of everything.
Yeah, 10 pages a day of reading.
What are you doing to captivate your audience and grow your brand?
Just providing valuable content, you know, whether it's in my stories or even the DMs. You know, a lot of people neglect the DMs, but providing value and tips and tricks through the DMs and actually answering all these different people who are messaging you. You know, if you provide valuable content in your posts, yeah, you'll get people to your page, but they won't stay there if you're not interacting with them. You know, everyone wants to feel important.
Exactly.
And by not answering them and thinking you're above that and your time's above that, you're losing a lot of potential business in the future.
Absolutely. Totally agree. And regarding your sales techniques, can you share a couple of sales techniques or one of your best closes, one of your best techniques on how to get a potential client to say yes and to sign up?
Yeah, so most of my business is over the phone. So I'll to be honest, I'll never do an in-person meeting. Like I'll often do it over the phone or via Zoom call. I just want to protect his time and I want to protect my time. You know, I don't want anyone to waste their time here. So I get straight to the point. You know,
but you're here right now, face to face.
Yeah. No, but I had to come see you, gentlemen, obviously. Yeah, so the beginning of the call, how it'll work is I'll basically set the call. I'll tell them how today's going to work. So a basic role play like this would be like, hey, John, pleasure to speak with you, brother. Just before we get started here today, I want to let you know how today's going to work. You know, I have about 30 minutes or so before I have to hop on a call with another client. In the meantime, bro, I'm just going to ask you a series of questions, kind of see if we're a right fit for each other. And I'll be like, yeah, sounds good.
It's perfect. Crazy. 21 years old. That's amazing. I love it.
But yeah, it's setting the call. And then also after he agrees, you know, you ask him, you know, but before we wrap up here, you know, there's basically 3 answers that you could give me. You know, you can give me a yes, which, all right, we're going to do business today, and that's great. You could give me a no, which is perfectly fine, John. There's absolutely nothing wrong with giving me a no. But there's just one thing I don't want to hear, and that's a maybe, or I need to think about it, or I need to go check with the wife. Because a lot of people tell me that, and I've been doing this for a long time, John, and that's
down lock right there.
Yeah,
that's down lock.
So, but that's how I'll actually take different parts of people's closings, basically their sales pitch, and I'll add it to mine.
So what's the third option that you give them? You say yes, no, and what's the other one?
But it's the maybe. So there's 3 answers he could give me. The one that I don't want to hear is I need to think about it, or or I have to check with someone. So that's setting the call, and then you're going into the pain points. Now the pain points, they're a little bit difficult, but you basically want to start the conversation with, John, I don't know that much about you. Tell me about yourself, man. Where are you from? What are you currently doing for a living? And a lot of people open up to you. A lot of people are disconnected in business. The chance that they get to talk about their lives and their problem, they're gonna blurt everything out. So that's where we have to step in to, number one, see if they're going to be successful in the program, because the last thing I want is to put this guy through the program. He is not successful. He doesn't make money out of it. Then my name's on the line, the entrepreneur's name's on the line, and not only that, but it'll probably refund. So then I lose my commissions on the next payout.
Good. Well, we'll keep that in mind. That's for sure. That's good.
I actually tried that one with the Dan Locke one.
Yeah.
With a client, and it works.
Yeah. A lot of Dan Locke's principles are really good. The only thing that I would say is he doesn't believe in follow-ups, and he never wants, I wouldn't say resistance, because he does want resistance in his conversation, but he'll never aim for no. What Never Split the Difference will teach you is that the negotiation only starts
when there's
at
a
no.
Exactly.
So
then you bridge a gap.
Exactly.
So it's opposite.
Exactly.
Opposite.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think there's things that you got to take from everyone's different sales abilities. I don't think anyone has the exact formula, but I've tried to create almost the perfect formula. Not to say that I've been successful in that.
So now you write your own book.
Eventually.
So we read an article that you're dyslexic, right?
I believe so.
Oh, you believe so? Okay.
I guess that's what the doctor had said.
Okay. And does that affect your performance and your growth, in your opinion?
I wouldn't say so. I don't think there's ever been a hindrance on my growth. I think things are running very smoothly, and if anything, it's propelled my growth, because starting out in school, everyone said I wasn't going to be successful. I believe one teacher was quoted to say to my mom, "You'll be lucky if you become a garbage man."
Wow.
Yeah.
What a horrible thing to say to a person.
As
a young kid,
influencer, you look up to these people. And
exactly. And that's what she had told my mom, and obviously these things just propelled me forward, because I realized, okay, I could work hard in school. I'm in a great program now. I got into building system engineering. There's a great salary at the end of that, $100K per year. But I just wanted more. I didn't want to be capped off at $100K after putting in all this work. I knew I could do it for myself, and it would be successful as a result. So it's really been a motivator for me, if anything.
Did you ever hear about the Ray Junior Courtemanche? So at 12, 13 years old, the teacher told him in front of the classmates, "You're going to be a nobody." Now I think he's mid-40s or something, whatever the case is. He's the one that created the Mirabel Mall.
Okay.
One of the biggest real estate developers in Quebec.
Yeah.
But my point is around this, that a lot of people, with that comment, they would
quit.
They would quit.
Take it personally,
right?
Of course.
Yeah.
But that fueled them to make things happen.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the teachers have to be careful, man. By saying that, if somebody is weak, right, they could ruin their life.
Absolutely. And it's so quickly, you're so impressionable as a young man or a young woman. If someone in a place of authority tells you something like that,
exactly.
You may have issues your whole life dealing with those traumatic experiences.
Mm-hmm. There's a question from the audience. Which pub were you working at when you were 18? What was your initial thought? And how did you feel when your manager told you that he owns you?
Yeah, so that's an interesting story. So I had worked at McKibben's in the West Island.
Okay.
It was definitely an interesting experience. It definitely took me away from being a typical teenager and going out and partying and stuff like that, just because I saw what happens as a result of alcohol. Not that I don't like alcohol or anything. I enjoy, having a couple of drinks with my friends. But to see people abuse it and just come night after night and every single, it really turned me off to alcohol.
At 18?
Yeah. So that's because I saw some crazy things happen. The numerous amounts of fights that would happen as a result. I remember there was one girl who, she would come in every Sunday night. On a Sunday night, that's not the time to be drinking. You have work the next morning, and she had gotten so blackout drunk that she had stepped out of the door, out of the front entrance. She had clipped the board at the bottom of the door, and she just, boom, cracked her head open. She gets up, walks to the bar, and asks for another drink.
That's
While her head is gushing blood.
that.
They had to call the ambulance. So it really turned me off to alcohol. But being in that environment just made me want to get
Which
the hell
pub
out
is
of
this? If you don't mind.
there. McKibben's,
Okay.
West Island. It really changed my perspective of going out and wasting my time in that regard. And that's, I think it benefited me in a sense, but being in that environment was not conducive to growth. That's for sure. And then obviously, I didn't feel great about, my manager saying, you own me. That's what really put the nail on the coffin. And I said, after that, I'm never working for anyone again.
What's your company's name? Stratton something?
Yeah, Stratton Sales. The Stratton Sales Agency.
Why that name? Do you love Jordan Belfort? Is that
Yeah, that's exactly it. So I was watching The Wolf of Wall Street when I was first in that sales agency. And they actually weren't paying me out on my last commissions. I was closing very consistently. I was making some pretty good money there, and I think they had screwed me out of around $30K USD. And being like 19 at the time,
money.
Like that's a lot of money. And I just said, I obviously cannot continue working for these people. I don't think it's right what they're doing on the back end, and also they're screwing me out of money. And I was watching that movie, and I was just like, I think I need to open up my own agency. And I just called it Stratton, and the name has stuck ever since. So it's been going pretty well.
And is Stratton using a lot of ClickFunnels? Are you dependent on ClickFunnels? And what do you think of them? Is it a gimmick? Does it really work?
I like ClickFunnels. What my business does is we connect a lot of dots in the sense that I'll place people with PR agents. I'll place them with digital marketing services. A lot of ClickFunnels as well. People who create the ClickFunnels to optimize them for sales. A lot of what I do is making money off the back end on that as well. So I'll connect them. I'll get a kickback from that. And not only that, I know that their sales process is sound because they have all the processes so that we could sell the most amount.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I believe in ClickFunnels. I think if they're done right, they have the capability of really improving someone's business.
Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years, other than your focus is to bring the company to a $10 million company, right?
Yeah, I definitely want to bring it even higher than that. Where I see myself in 10 years is, I definitely want to continue to get into real estate as well. I think we're not making any more land, so it's the best place to put your money for the long term. And how I always think about everything is long term. Like, no fancy clothing, no fancy watches, no fancy cars.
More assets than liabilities.
Exactly.
Let the assets purchase those things for you.
Yeah, exactly. That stuff I could have later on.
There you go.
My main focus is grow the business as much as possible. Try to hit the $1 billion mark, and then I'll be very content.
Very mature, man.
Very, for 21.
Appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Bravo, keep it up, man.
Another question. At the age of 18, you invested $20K to build a mobile app, and it failed.
Yeah.
What made you want to create the app in the first place? Did you have any prior background in coding? And how did you overcome this failure, and even having $20K at 18 years old in the first place? How did all this happen?
So we had actually started the landscaping business to fund the application.
Okay.
So pretty much I was working at McKibben's, had this landscaping company with one of my best friends. We wanted to build an app. We had a vision, and we acted on it. I think you could think about all the details later. The first step is action.
Yeah.
Like, that's where people they just think, and then they get nothing done. So it's a lot of action. That's why the sales agency has been so successful. I didn't think about all the things I was going to do. I just acted, and then I'll think later.
Problems, solutions.
Exactly.
Or like Cardone says, problems, opportunities.
Exactly. So I got into the landscaping business. We did fairly well. We did enough to fund the application. We had developers in, I'm not quite certain where we got them from. I believe it was from Upwork.
Sri Lanka, no?
Yeah, it was from Sri Lanka.
Okay.
Yeah. We got them through Upwork. It was we got them through Upwork, and it
Yeah,
it
Pork is
wasn't
good. We used it a couple times.
yeah, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for. The whole model of the app didn't really like sit well with me, and I just didn't like. To be honest, I had some limiting beliefs on its success, just because of the look of the app. Obviously, being an artist, the aesthetics of something has to be like perfect for me to bring it to market. Didn't like the aesthetics, and then we didn't have the correct implementation afterwards. We had never built an app. We were not in that space whatsoever. And going from the landscaping business and then also building the app in the meantime, because the landscaping business was doing well, and we had 100+ clients.
You still have it though?
No, we sold it. Yeah, we sold it.
What were you doing? Just landscape or winter too? Snow removal?
No, just
Okay, so
grass
seasonal.
fed. Yeah. And we just did it to fund the app, and it tanked. It just didn't do well. We didn't have the correct implementation. The action was there, but we weren't wise enough in business to understand how to implement correctly. Like, of course, you still have to think about, what you're going to do and plan accordingly, but the action has to be there.
Good.
And who supported you?
You know what? I didn't get a lot of support in the beginning. A lot of people, questioned me, especially not excelling in school, finally getting into a good program due to my hard work, and then dropping out. So they kind of thought, okay, you burned out. So, my parents were like, get back in school. What are you doing? A lot of my family members were questioning me heavily, but I believed in myself 100%. And I don't need supporters. I don't need someone to tell me, this is a good idea. At the end of the day, I'm going to think it over. I'm going to see if it's a good idea, and I'm going to act on it.
I love what you just said. I believe in myself 100%. So the only person you really need support from is yourself.
Of course.
It's awesome.
Of course. Everyone in the room could say you're not going to be successful, and I'll prove you guys all wrong. That's just my belief. And obviously, I wish everyone well, but if you don't believe in me, unfortunately, I'm going to prove you wrong. That's just what it is.
I love your mindset. Man.
I love it.
And that's where you are today, based on the right mindset and the choices you did in the past.
Yeah, and that stems a lot from martial arts. Like, my kids 100% will be in martial arts. Because
at what age do you recommend? Because Jimmy has 2 kids.
Yeah, I would say get them into something like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu at a young age.
No boxing?
No, I did boxing, but that's a lot of brain trauma at the end of the day. Like, of course it's.
But I'm not talking about punching.
Yeah,
I'm talking about how to hit the bag.
Yeah, if they're not sparring and stuff like that, absolutely.
No sparring.
Yeah. Hitting the bag, kickboxing,
exactly.
Muay Thai, all of that. Yeah, absolutely.
At what age do you recommend?
I would start as young as possible. I started at I believe 3 or 4 years old.
4 years old.
Yeah.
Wow.
I started Kyokushin karate. I did that until I was around 11 or so.
I think we'll start karate too.
Yeah.
3, 4, but then maybe boxing to hit the bag. Yeah, when the time comes.
Yeah.
Still young, 19 months.
What I would say is definitely karate. That forms like the basic discipline.
It's the foundation.
Yeah, it teaches them how to punch, how to kick, and there's no like combat. It's when you start, getting into sparring and stuff like that, and like for myself, I was taking into consideration going pro eventually, but that did not do me any favors. That's for sure. Definitely a lot of shots to the head that could have been avoided. But if you could take the mindset and everything from the sport, absolutely implement it. But I would stay away from, the hand-to-hand combat.
Now, regarding your business, in the next 5 years, do you see yourself still active or have somebody running the show?
I would see myself still active. At the end of the day, what am I going to do with my time? I have all these years. What am I going to sit on the couch and watch Netflix?
There you go.
I think it's what drives me. Like, I love encountering these problems on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, does it get overwhelming at times, and having to do like 50+ phone calls a day, then meetings with clients, and then all these things. It definitely gets taxing. But what else am I going to do?
With the mindset you have right now at 21 years old, I could just imagine 10 years, man, you're going to be a billionaire.
Absolutely.
With that mindset.
I appreciate
Keep
that,
it up,
John.
man.
I appreciate that.
And you have our support, and I'm very confident we're going to collaborate some way, somehow in the near future.
Oh, absolutely. I'd love to. I'd love to.
And for everybody watching this video right now that wants to be an entrepreneur, a business owner, or excel in sales, what are a couple of tips that you would share with them?
I would say to just start. If you have an idea, you want something that you want to act on, implementation is king. You just have to put it in process. Because at the end of the day, you know, you could think about it all you want, but if you don't take action, it's never going to come to fruition. You know, you have to believe in yourself enough. You have to do very hard things on a daily basis and just act. And I would say that starts with getting yourself to the gym, doing things that are very difficult. And then obviously, you know, if you have a healthy body, you're going to have a healthy mind, and that's going to help you in business.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think an entrepreneur is born or he can be made?
I think it can be made. I don't think anyone's born an entrepreneur. At the end of the day, it's your environment. You know, if you grow around shitty people, unfortunately, that's not going to do you any favors. You know, you have to get out of that environment. I was very fortunate. All my friends are in business. They're all very entrepreneurial mindset oriented.
Good influences.
Exactly. And you know, we don't really like go out clubbing and stuff like that. A lot of what the people our age are doing is, you know, they go out clubbing, they go out to dinners, they do this.
They live for the weekend.
Exactly. A lot of us are frugal. A lot of us are business oriented. Our conversations, I don't think we've talked about anything other than business in the past like 5 years.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Compared to us.
Compared to us?
For $1 million, would you do this?
Oh my god.
No, don't get me wrong. We talk about women on occasion. But yeah, I'm very fortunate. My friend group is phenomenal, and I think that plays a huge role in me still, you know, after failure, still pursuing business. Because I think a lot of friend groups would be like laughing at you, oh, you failed this, you failed that. And mine just encouraged me, and I think I owe a lot of my success to them.
What's your favorite quote?
It's the knowledge that I'm gonna die that creates the focus I bring to being alive. By Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Sharp guy. You're sharp, bro. Good for you. You said that at 21.
And how can somebody follow your journey on social media?
You guys could follow me at Ambro Monopoly on Instagram, and then Ambro Di Pilato on Facebook.
Ambro, thank you so much for taking the time to be here today. Honestly, I'm inspired. 21 years old. If I was making the choices that you made, man, I don't know where I would be today. So
I agree.
I appreciate you guys
Thank
having
you.
me on.
Good
It was
for
a
you,
pleasure
man.
talking with you guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
And I learned a lot just from having you here.
Absolutely.
And very grateful.
Likewise. Thank you so much for having me on, guys.
Keep it up, man. You should be proud of yourself.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
We're going
it.
to collaborate for sure.
Absolutely. Definitely.